as I go from the top of the steps to go to this bedroom, it sound or feels like somebody walked like right up in my ear and whispered and walked past me down.
Today's guest is Mr. Dustin Grammer, a documentarian and filmmaker from my home state of Alabama. He lives down near Tuscaloosa, close where I went to college. Roll Tide. That's why I had the hat on today. He's a real nice dude. Sent me a mug from his studio, Moonlight Monster Media. I'm looking at my mug to say it because I got it wrong 3 times in the intro before. So, you know, 3 times the charms, I guess. He is currently working on a cryptid documentary. It was going to be based in Alabama, but he's gotten so many sources and guests that he's going to do kind of it's going to be kind of nationwide. Black cats, cryptids, Bigfoot. Working really hard on it. Got some good guests. Some of my guests will be on there. I sent him, threw him a bone, threw a bone to the little fella because I'm not the little fella anymore. I've gained a bunch of weight over Christmas, people, and it's a real problem. Anyway, Moonlight Monster Media. The link is in the description. Dustin Grammer. He's also got a movie on, I think it's on TUBI. It's on those kind of things. It may be on YouTube. It's called Steeds Ridge. You can find it on IMDb. I've got a link to that in the description. But check that out. It's kind of a horror mockumentary kind of thing. It's one of those kind of movies that's fun to watch. It ain't no Forrest Gump, I'll tell you that. But it is a darn entertaining movie. But you are, of course, listening and watching the Caffeinated Cryptid podcast, and I'm your host, Bobby Dizzle. And all ways to watch and listen are in the description. Check out bobbydizzle.com, and I encourage everyone to subscribe on YouTube, please. I'm trying to get up to 1 million followers on there. And also check out my Facebook group, Bigfoot and Coffee, the official group of the Caffeinated Cryptid podcast. The link to that is also in the description. I'm trying to grow it as well. It's where I post all my content first. It's where I go to first. So if you're a member of that group, you'll get everything I put out the moment I put it out. I mean, that's ground zero for Bobby Dizzle Enterprises. Anyway, let's get to this Dustin Grammer episode because this was really fun. And thanks again, Dustin, for being on. How long have you been working on this documentary?
This one maybe since about October, I think. So I
it's a
finished
baby.
up. So, what's that?
So it's a baby documentary now. It's still growing.
Oh yeah. I'd done my my previous film, and it was all fictional, and some of it was a little goofy and bad quality. So in the midst of working on that, I decided to take a crack at a legit set of 2 different documentaries, and I started off full speed, and as I started working on it more and more, I got better technology. I started making better connections with getting guests, and it's just kind of been growing since then. So I'm hoping to be done with it here in the next month or so.
The guests are the hardest part.
Yeah, that's right. I have had to reach out to people. This is the first time I've had to work with people I don't actually know, have never met. So some of that's a little different, making, new acquaintances, some new friends along the way. It's just making those connections. And then there's a couple here and there, you reach out to people who want to help you, and then that's about the hardest part to deal with, because then sometimes they don't always come through right away or at all.
Yeah. Very optimistic up front.
Oh yeah.
Then it just fade away like it never existed. Like, what was all that about? Thought we were friends here.
They probably watched my first movie and got scared. They're like, "Oh no, this guy's gonna make a mockery out of us." But no, not this time.
Yeah, the good thing about the Bigfoot bunch and the paranormal bunch in general is most of them are down to earth folks.
And yeah. I'd say at least 90% of the ones I've met are some of the nicest people and most honest people I think I've ever talked to.
Some of them are crazy, insane. You're like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah, you might be talking to one right now.
I don't know.
That's yet to be determined.
We'll see. That's why I got to live in a gated community, armed guards, several pit bulls guarding the place, the estate.
Yeah. I don't live in Tuscaloosa County. I'm from Mississippi.
From Hollywood, Huntsville, Texas is where I live. Yeah, so you started off just doing Alabama one. Is it mostly Alabama still? Alabama documentary?
Yeah, I was trying to do. I was trying to kind of like run the gauntlet on everything paranormal: UFOs, ghosts, Bigfoot,
Mm-hmm.
uh, big cat sightings, just any oddity you could think of, and link it back to the state. But as I progressed through this project, some of the, we did a couple of paranormal investigations, like in a cemetery and an old haunted house, historical
Mm-hmm.
house, and I liked some of the material so much I didn't want to edit it down. So it grew to the point where it was going to probably take 2 films or 2 volumes to complete. And I kind of, through Facebook asked people, did they kind of want a mixed bag through both movies of a little bit of everything, or did they want me to try to, like compartmentalize like Bigfoot
Mm-hmm.
into one side and keep the ghosts and all that separate? And the consensus was keep them separate. So I could probably finish the paranormal one quicker than the Bigfoot one, but I'm so hard headed. I've done just got it dead set in my mind. I wanted to take that route, and I'm just not backing off of it.
Mm-hmm. I know you could probably make a whole career out of big cat sightings in this state. That seems to be a
Yeah, and that's
hot.
the that's the subject I hit the lightest too, and I probably could have went the heaviest with was the big cats. I know we've had plenty of them around where I'm at, or
Mm-hmm.
claiming to see them.
I don't know if you watch Rick and Bubba or not, but anytime that they mention the Black Panthers, it's just the whole rest of the show ain't nothing but a Black Panther. They have Dan Moultrie on there, and he swears they're not in here. I think they don't admit they're here because they have to regulate them. Then they'd have to
Yeah,
put out some kind of season for them. And now if they don't, it's easier just to say they're not here.
yeah, that could be it, and it's as far as cryptozoology goes, well, they're not. I mean, they actually exist though, but
Yeah, I
it's
mean we know they're real, just not
yeah,
here.
yeah,
Is the
we know
problem.
that they're real, so it's not like it would, it'd be more likely to see one of them than say like a Bigfoot, because the jury, it's still out on that, and I think those big cats. I've got some information in the film I'm working on. Some of the males roam like so many 100 miles and
Mm-hmm.
in their territory and all that, so it's not far fetched that they could be all the way here. I mean, they're in
Yeah,
Florida and
yeah, in Texas, and out
Texas.
west.
Yeah, not too far. Not really.
I would put the excitement if Bigfoot to me is a 10 out of 10. The excitement of finding out who killed Kennedy, the excitement of finding out that maybe the Challenger astronauts didn't really die, or the excitement of finding out we had Black Panthers here in Alabama, even though they're not mid. That'd be like a solid six or seven, just in that same vein of how the kind of things I like to talk about. But Bigfoot and aliens, finding out those would be a 10. I wouldn't put finding out ghosts are real as a 10 because I know they're real. For a lesser extent, I know aliens are real statistically. It's maybe not big headed bald fellers in a flying saucer, but there's a microbe out there somewhere. But yeah, as far as Panthers goes, JFK, that's excites it scratches the itch. So anytime
Yeah,
somebody brings it up, I'm like, what's that now? Black Panthers or
yeah.
Chupacabra.
To tell on myself a little bit though, I had to come clean with this. When I was a kid, like the Black Panther stories, I think probably scared me more than anything because I heard it
Mm-hmm.
so much, and they throw in the urban legends of the Panther that got so and so out with his girlfriend here, and
Mm-hmm.
man, when you're 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, I guess, and that stuff gets in your head, man, it's like the shark in the swimming pool thing, man. You think there's going to be like a
Mm-hmm.
panther in your house just waiting to tear you up at any moment. So come
Oh
clean
yeah,
with that.
you heard it all the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We had a neighbor that he kind of butchered his own meat, and it didn't help hearing it from an old man that he saw one just the day before getting in his scraps, that he threw out. So
Just trying to keep you out of his backyard. That's what it
yeah,
was.
well, I mean, maybe he was telling the truth. I don't know, but I didn't take that chance, to find out too much.
Man, Tuscaloosa County, it's in such a central location that if something were to migrate in and out, it wouldn't shock me.
Oh no, because we
Just,
got a lot of habitat around here that varies.
I was shocked how South Alabama and South Georgia, they're like another country. They're not from the Alabama that I grew up in and the Alabama that you live in are not the same place. And the Alabama that Evergreen and Laverne, that's not even like the same state to me. It's like, what is this? This is sand. Where I come from, it's all mountain. My whole county's mountains. You go
Yeah,
anywhere else, it's not really the same.
yeah, you're kind of the foothills.
Mm-hmm.
Is where's the Appalachian Trail start? It's not too far away, is it?
No, it's I don't want to go out. I think it starts in Georgia. I don't think it starts anywhere
Okay,
in Alabama.
all
I know
right.
it runs through the Clingman's Dome
Isn't
because every white person for 10,000 miles takes a picture next to the Appalachian Trail at Clingman's Dome.
isn't Evergreen supposed to be like the Bigfoot capital of the state now? Am I getting that right?
That's where old Flat Rock's from.
There was
Flat,
one city. I watched the show, and I think I want to say it was Evergreen that they've got the statue out front and all that, but I've never been there.
it wouldn't shock me. The Flat Rock Boogers guys from there. I don't know if you heard of him. He's one of the famous Alabama guys. And in my county growing up, Jackson County, there's a Flat Rock, Alabama, actual municipality, as small as it is, about the size of Coker or Reform, you know.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not maybe it's smaller than those. It's like one store, one gas pump. You can't even get mid grade. But I thought he was from there. I'm like, hot damn, he's in my home county. I got a guy I can hang out with, and I'm like planning all these things, and he sends me his address. I'm like, this is freaking below Montgomery. What in the world? He goes, no, I'm not from Flat Rock, Alabama. I'm just Flat Rock because that's what I call my place in so many words. But he's down in between Evergreen and Georgiana,
Oh, okay.
where Hank Williams is from. Apparently, it's lit up down there.
Yeah, well, maybe there's I know if it's not Evergreen, that's the area where the Bigfoot capital of the state's supposed to be,
Yeah.
and I'm
I'll
pretty
tell you one
pretty sure.
thing, Talladega and Bankhead got some going on too, from what I've heard.
Yeah, I can tell you, we did hike Bankhead once and went way off in there, and we were camping out under these rock shelves, and that night it was a big scream, like a cat screaming. So there you go. We kind of slept with one eye open that night. It was pretty loud and pretty close.
Yeah, hearing a Bigfoot scream be one thing, hearing a cat scream be another. Because you know a cat's there.
Oh
A
yeah,
cat might come up
yeah,
on
yeah.
you. They'll
This
come
for
up in your
sure.
tent.
This for sure was a cat scream, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't tent. I was just laying on the ground. So
He
a
said,
couple of the other guys, they had those little one man tents, but I was kind of out in the open.
he said, wow.
Yeah, yeah, just about 20 times louder.
The um mountain lions. I grew up, like I told you, in the mountains, and my grandparents' place is at the foot of the mountain, right before you grow up into the mountain that goes to Tennessee. And my grandpa talked about hearing them scream back there every so often. It's man, here I'm hunting in the dark, and you think something's following you, and that's how they do. And, and you stop and hear another step. Like, no, that was something else. I'll be like making noise, humming to myself. I could have been a mountain lion. There's none here. I was like you, trying to make it a myth in my head.
Yeah, yeah, and it's one of the more believable things
Yeah.
because
Well, yeah. I mean,
they're
of
100%
course.
proven to exist. And like the whole Bigfoot thing was something I've been interested in since I was a kid because of the kind of books and stuff we had in our little elementary school library. Had a lot of little monster books and werewolf books, and I mean, in a little kids library. And then my best friend's mom, growing up, we used to, when we'd go over there, like on a Friday night or something, she'd load us up in the back of the pickup truck, and my friend's dad would drive, and she'd sit back there and tell us all these stories. A lot of them were Bigfoot stories, so I'd always been interested in the topic, but just not 100% sold on it. And then the more, I started doing this documentary stuff and listening to podcasts, and there's so many thousands of sightings, so it's kind of like one of those things. Like, are there really that many people who would
Have you
just
ever
say
heard?
this?
Have you ever had like your paradigm shift yet? How you hear so
What?
many, you're like, how is this not? Is this? It can't be just people, everybody lying.
Yeah,
Or is
that's
it
what
what
I
you're
was.
saying?
Yeah, yeah, because I was thinking like, man, because me and my wife will listen to like podcasts, and some people, I don't care what you say, and I don't want to call nobody a liar, but there's some people you could just flat out know they're making it up because their story will sort of change during the episode, and I would say, yeah, they just make it up or whatever. And she'd get a little aggravated and be like, well, what are you listening to this for? And people wouldn't do that. And I'm like, people absolutely would do that
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
get on a podcast or something. But I know a lot of really good people that I believe are very, very honest. And if I was going to believe anybody, they seem like I think they're telling the truth. So it kind of warped my thinking a little bit because there's so many uninhabited acres, and I mean, something could be out there. I'm kind of having that shift. I think maybe.
It happened to me after hearing two or three older gentlemen, one of them being Wadsworth, say the same thing thousands of miles apart.
Yeah,
I think he's got a really good story, but it makes you wonder, like why do some of them sell these elaborate stories? Like, what are they getting out of it? Either they're lying or they got some kind of mental problem.
yeah.
Because it can't all be real.
The ones with the very, very, very fine details down to the hair and the eye. Like when you get into like these very fine details for something you saw 100 yards away for 10 seconds, it gets
Mm-hmm.
less believable to me. But I know guys like recently. I've come in contact with the guy you had on your show, Daniel Benoit. Is
Mm-hmm.
that how you pronounce his last name, Benoit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Benoit,
Uh,
not Benoit.
yeah, it
I
looks
was
like
calling
Benoit, but
Benoit. I
I,
thought I was being smart too. I'm Benoit. Yeah.
well, I learned it wasn't Benoit by listening to your show, and I was like, oh, that's
Mm-hmm.
good to know. But
I think he
uh,
takes them both though, because everybody says it too.
yeah, but I believe
Yeah.
him. He I believe him. Then the guy who distributor company I work with, Zombie Media, or it goes Zombie
Mm-hmm.
Media Publishing too. If you Google it, Thomas Markham runs that,
Mm-hmm.
and every dealing I've had with him since 2018, when I was just trying to shop my music around, he's been 100% honest with me, and I go to him pretty regular with all kind of different questions, and he's always accommodating and always answers them, and I really believe, he says he saw him, so I don't think he's making that up. Pretty sure I believe
Mm-hmm.
him.
There's a
Because I
few.
mean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said there's a few that you can tell just aren't lying. Whether they're telling what they saw was something, but they're not lying.
Yeah, I mean, because I've had a couple with unexplained events, or I guess you could call them paranormal. And how different do I sound, telling that to somebody than this person who says they saw this gigantic thing in the woods at
Mm-hmm.
some point? So, but I've always, as I've gotten older, I've leaned a little more toward the believing, I guess ghosts or whatever spirits, whatever they are. I'd believe that more than Bigfoot, but I've always kind of wanted to believe Bigfoot was real though, like
Mm-hmm.
because it's been cool to me.
Yeah, I don't know how old you are. You were talking about the book you read, and I became obsessed with Bigfoot because of a book I read when I was in like fifth grade.
I've heard so many people say that.
It
Uh,
was this one right here. Is I bought it at a book fair, and it's got the story of Sasquatch in it, and it's got like the hook, the babysitter's calls coming from inside the house.
oh man,
I don't know if you can see it. Right there is the table of contents, but it says it's in the middle. The Night of Sasquatch, page 51. And I remember reading that story and thinking I was like, this is it. That was the best story in that whole book for me.
yeah, I'll get up with you on that afterwards. I'd like to try to hunt that down on Amazon if it still exists.
Oh, it does.
The book that I read, I cannot find anywhere. But it had it was Bigfoot, the Yeti was in it, Loch Ness monster. I want to say there were some South American monsters and some things from Africa, maybe China. But the Bigfoot, it always kind of, I think that was by far my favorite out of that book. And they kind of had this picture of him, looked like he was kind of in the woods at night, maybe the glow of a fire. Like it used to, I'd go on my front porch and read this book right before dark and think like he was about to come around the edge of the house and get me, but I'd still go out there and read it, even though it was, it's kind of creepy. But that's,
Yep.
yeah, elementary school. And between that and my friend's mom, driving us around telling us ghost and Bigfoot stories. And she's actually in the movie too. I went over because she's had full on, investigations and researchers come to her place. I just can't disclose her location, but they've flown drones and brought teams out with infrared because she's got good audio. She was nice enough to let me use the audio for the movie, so it'll be in there too. And she's had it
Oh, wow.
analyzed, and they can't tell. It's not a, it's not something a man could make.
It's got that weird, oh,
Yeah, it is. It's just like
Bigfoot sound.
this real loud yell that almost sounds kind of like a siren in a way, I guess, but it's a yell.
I don't know what I'd do if I heard that.
Yeah, it
I've
depends.
never
Yeah,
had.
if you were in the woods and heard that.
And wasn't ready for it. Knowing all the stuff I've actually heard in the woods and hearing something that wasn't identified.
Yeah, I did my own night investigation that's going to be in the movie, and I'm not too far away, but I'm not in the spot where all her stuff happens. And at one point, I'm out there. I've done wandered off a good ways in the dark and blue of wounded rabbit call, and I'm thinking for a second, man, what am I doing? What if something happens? What am I going to do? Because I was just trying to get footage and do a legit, honest investigation. But I'm like, what if? What if? And
A
that's
wounded rabbit. That'd bring a lot of stuff in.
exactly, yeah. It could have been a panther, I don't know.
That brings that back into play.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, I wasn't unarmed, but
Yeah.
still, you get to thinking there for a minute. What have I done? It could turn into like a. It almost become it could have become found footage. It'd been my last movie.
All of a sudden, you're in a Eduardo Sanchez movie.
It ends up being like the best thing I've ever worked on. I'm not even here to see it.
That would be my luck, is actually find the missing link, and I'm the reason they found it. Stick the camera in my abdominal cavity before he rips me to shreds, some kind of shit like that.
It'd be my luck. I would actually catch it, start to get away, and slip off a rock or something. That's how it would go down. It wouldn't even get attacked. It'd be like trying to hurry up with excitement and have an accident.
What was that? The guy on Breaking Bad? He was trying to run away from him, and he was just standing. They slipped, and he hit his head on the table and died, or got put in the hospital. They weren't even doing anything to him. He hurt himself. That'd be something that would happen.
I haven't seen that, but that would be something that would happen for sure. But I tried to not bull, not BS around with this stuff. If I take my camera out, like same with the paranormal stuff, which I've gotten. I'm excited about that because I actually had activity on those videos and I legitimately just went in filming, not expecting a whole lot to happen. Same with the Bigfoot. I don't force things. Nothing's fraudulent. I just go and walk around, turn on the camera, see if something happens. If it doesn't, I go back, But the paranormal stuff was, I had some things happen on those, and that'll leave you kind of going home thinking about it a little bit more, if you hear, a voice in the recording, that kind of thing.
I just think it's a foregone conclusion that ghosts are real to me. I don't know if that's everybody, but I thought that I have ghost people on because I know they have evidence. And
Yeah,
it's always a good time because they always have stuff if they've done it for any amount of time. Just like you've done it for a minimal amount of time compared to others, and you've got stuff right off the bat.
yeah, and that's it was surprising to me, but it was authentic, like I didn't
Mm-hmm.
force that, and I don't have expensive gear. I don't have extensive, some people have training, I guess, to go to camps and learn how to do
Mm-hmm.
this stuff. I enjoyed making films, so I picked topics I enjoyed and just took a crack at it and got a couple guys. I did the Bigfoot thing by myself, but going in a cemetery or an old house, I didn't do that by myself. I got a couple guys to go with me at night and bought some equipment, and uh, it's been that kind of week for me this week.
That's hilarious. I thought
Okay,
you dropped
man.
it.
No, somebody called and it, for whatever reason, messed the whole thing up.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, yeah, phone. Yeah, there was a phone call coming in, and I exited out, and it took our audio out. I could still see you.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Then I was like, "What in the world?" I thought it fell down.
Yeah, it
One
was a.
time, I had the guy from Minnesota on, Randy, and he said, and he talks to his Bigfoot. He's like, "Hey guys, it's Randy. If you're here right now, show yourself." And right then, his Wi-Fi dropped.
Oh
Like
wow.
we've been going for like an hour, and it happened. Yeah, it was.
Yes.
I've never seen anything like it. Felt creepy.
Yeah, I was just about to start talking about spiritual stuff, like what I believed, coming up, and that's about the time it
Hmm.
happened.
Yep. I was going to ask you if the lady you were talking about had ever experienced anything like woo woo on her place.
Oh man, she has, for every Bigfoot story she has just as many paranormal. Actually, I have a couple of paranormal that happened in her house.
Ooh,
That's where one of my main stories comes from. So yeah, for every Bigfoot story, she's got a ghost story to go with it, and some of those are very very scary too. It's
it's
an old.
crazy how they go hand in hand.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. If you don't mind, I'll just tell you like what happened to me.
Yeah,
And um, like I said, it's
I
my
do
best
not
friend.
mind.
Huh?
I do not mind. Tell me.
Yeah, that's my best friend's mom's house. So when she would go out of town, like sometimes they go visit like Gettysburg or go, to these old places. Well,
Hmm.
I've always enjoyed staying there. Well, they would, I was grown when this happened in my 20s, and I would go house sit for them when they went on their vacations and
Oh
just
my
kind of.
god.
And my best friend came out. It's his mom, so he was going to stay there too. We were going to hang out in there. Well, when I first got there after work, he'd already been there, so I had my bags, and he told me which room to go stay in. And they had these stairs, and I went up to the top of the stairs, and this bedroom was in the corner. And as I go from the top of the steps to go to this bedroom, it feels like somebody walked like right up in my ear and whispered and walked past me down toward the other rooms. And it kind of had like that breeze, like somebody goes past you. And I heard this whisper, which it was like I couldn't understand it. It wasn't like clear English or anything. And I forgot what I said. I thought I might have said something like, "What the heck?" And he was downstairs in the kitchen and heard me. And he was like, What's going on up there?" So I didn't want to tell him because we were about to stay here together like all weekend. And I didn't want it to be
Ruin it.
like, yeah, yeah. We were like set to have like a good time, so I didn't want us like freaking out or nothing. So I said, "Oh, it's nothing. It's nothing." And then, the last day, I guess it was like a Sunday or something. We were getting ready to leave, and I said, "Man, because I thought about it all weekend. I wasn't scared or anything, but I just couldn't explain what happened. I don't know what it was. I don't know, So we're on our way out, and I said, "Man, I want to talk to you about something." I said, the like Friday evening when I got here, and you heard me upstairs, like, what the heck?" And he was like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, it really was something." I said, and I told him what happened. And he looks dead at me and says, well, I got something to tell you. He said that I didn't want to talk about. He said that morning when I came over here to, I guess stay in the house, he said I was talking to Martin, which is her husband, his stepdad, and he was at the kitchen sitting at the high chair at the counter there. And he said he felt somebody come up behind him, like, and put their arms around him and hug him, like kind of over the shoulders and lean on him.
Mm.
And he said, oh, good morning, Mama. And Martin looked and said, who are you talking to? Your mom's still upstairs asleep. So that was the same day, but just in the morning. Mine was in the afternoon, and we came clean with all that afternoon, the last day, because neither one of us wanted to freak the other one out.
Man, that's getting touched.
Yeah, that changed a little bit of my view, on things, because now I'm a part of something happening, and when it happens to you, it changes things. How do you explain what happened?
You didn't hear what it said. You just heard a whisper.
Yeah, it was a loud whisper, but it's like maybe it wasn't in English. That's what was even worse about it. Like, it didn't make any sense. It was like unintelligible, or at least it wasn't English.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot of history up in this land. I think, like, my uncle, he finds like Native American stuff all the time, and her house is maybe not even half a mile from his through the woods where he finds all this stuff. So maybe if it was a native spirit that didn't speak English, or I don't know, or maybe it was something evil that didn't speak English, because that's what I used to think, like ghosts were like demons or something, because when you're dead, you're gone, but I don't know. Some people don't think that. They think they're people who are kind of still hanging around in like a limbo or something.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about that part, because you get the two subject matters, like, are they gone already? Or are they still here? Is it cross dimensional?
Yeah, because I've always thought when you're dead, you're in heaven or hell, So how could you be a ghost and still be here? So it's kind of like, well, are they demons? Is it fallen angels? Is it something else? Like, and people think they're they mimic family members or mimic these energies of these people who were in the spot at one time. I don't know, man. I don't know how to explain it, but I mean, 100% believe something's there spiritually,
Well,
because
it's odd that they're only in places where stuff actually was. Like, they don't just inhabit a random spot. That's what would make me think it'd be like demons or something. Just appear like at a random gas station. Like, it's the gas station's haunted now, but it's always like a haunted hospital, an old ass house, or something like that has that energy, that trauma.
Yeah, it's traumatic. Bad stuff happens. Like a hospital. There's a lot of death in a hospital or a battlefield. A lot of suffering, a lot of death.
Yeah, battlefield especially.
Or houses where murders took place or accidents. I don't know.
It's not just in, like, you build a house unless it's on a burial ground. Like, it's just not naturally haunted.
Yeah, there's a rumor about that property she lives on. I really need to ask and get this cleared up. And I could probably ask her, but unless somebody was just trying to scare us, they always told us there was this old woman who used to live there in this small house, and she was sort of witchy, and the house burnt down one night and she died in it, and they built their house on the same home place. Because they built their house.
That makes sense.
They built their house in like the late 90s, so it's not an old house, but the property's really old.
Yeah, especially in that area. If you're anywhere near where you live now, I'll tell them what kind of old places were there and got burned down, got destroyed.
Yeah, because there's old, old rail roads from what they used to do the lumber up here, and they had old coal mines, and and my dad, like, he was telling me there was kind of an old prison camp up here at one time where they would keep people in this prison camp, and those were the guys they took out to log and cut the timber up here and run on those rails. Because as a kid, some of these roads were still dirt, and you'd find those railroad spikes all the time up here. But now most of them pretty much all of them are paved now. On occasion, if you're walking, you may find one that's off to the wayside there, but we'd find
What's
them a lot.
the? Do you know what's the Circle 84 company in Northport?
Circle
You know what I'm
84.
talking? It's like a 84 lumber.
Oh, 84 lumber. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and you go past there and you take a left and you go up into the old Bryce is up there
uh-huh.
and they got the mud holes. We went out there one night. My buddy thought his Nissan hardbody was a damn tank, and he got it buried up. And I wasn't taking mine through it because I'm from Jackson County. I know what's going to happen if I go through that mud hole. He's from Pleasant View, so he ain't never been nowhere. Or Pleasant Grove, over there by Hueytown. And we ended up going back through there, and I come up with my KC daylighters on, and it's like 3 a.m. I turn the corner, and there's old Bryce right in front of me. And I jumped the railroad tracks in that Toyota Tacoma. I was out of there. Like what are we doing here? I didn't know this was this close to old Bryce. So that place is definitely got some more history.
Yeah, I'd like
to
get permission to legally go in there and film some of that.
Down.
But I've been. What's that?
It's about to fall in.
Oh yeah, I've been in there illegally a bunch though in the past.
Oh yeah, who hasn't?
Looking around and hanging out. That was a long time ago. But after the first time you go, it's like, man, it's really scary. But I'd like to go back.
That graffiti too.
Yeah, man, one of the last times we went, a guy with a gun confronted us because he was scared because we had literally just walked up and hid in the bushes.
A guy with a gun.
Yeah, because we heard these people coming out like in a hurry, with flashlights and all. And one of the guys that was with us popped up, and I guess the guy saw his head and shined the lights at the bush we were in. He was like, all right, who's behind the bush? I have a gun. He was like, so I'm not playing around with y'all. Stand up. So we were kind of busted at that point and stood up. He looks at me and says, you were just in the building, weren't you? You were just in the building. I said, man, we just got here. I promise. Because, he's like talking about this gun. He's got a gun. And I'm like, dude, I promise we just got here. And he's like, I swear. I saw you in the building. Are y'all in there screwing with us? Were you in there screwing with us? Because he's like, that's not funny. I'm not playing with you right now. I'm like, man, no. So we kind of talked them down, and everybody went their separate ways. We left, they left, and that I may have went back like one more time since then, but that was it for a while. And it wasn't like he was like a criminal or nothing. I guess he was just in there with his friends like we were, but he had a gun.
And got himself freaked out.
Yeah, he was really scared and thought we were playing a prank on him, and we honestly had just arrived.
That's wild that you'd have a doppelganger in there. That's a different kind of haunt.
Yeah, I'm glad I
That's
didn't. That's pretty scary.
You ain't supposed to go near your doppelganger.
Yeah, I've heard that. I don't know much about that. I've just heard that before. Like, you're not supposed to do that.
I don't know why they exist, to be honest, but apparently, like, if you're in a place like that and you see yourself, you run the other way, don't touch them. Don't, because they'll kill you and take over your life.
Somebody's dad probably started that because he was messing around and had like a sibling you didn't know about somewhere else, and just to let's not take no chance if you see somebody that looks like you, run away. So the secret.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Not to put a wet blanket over the whole conversation, but I kind of think that's like 3/4 of Bigfoot and UFO experiences that you hear, like from firsthand witnesses, like they were out there, they haven't came out of the closet yet, but him and their hunting buddies are good more than friends. Like, I don't know where we were, honey. The clothes got ripped up. We saw a Bigfoot, me and John. I'm like,
yeah,
you really just broke back hunting club.
Around here though, the other theory is a lot of the old guys had stills in the woods around here, and they would make up the booger stories to keep people from finding their stuff. They'd be like, don't go down to the creek over here. That booger will get you. Stay in the yard.
That's 90% of every Andy Griffith Show episode.
Yeah, well, and they even had the fake. I know guys that are, one guy for sure, he said his dad even had the fake shoes, that they would put the big foot tracks out. So that's man, that sucks though when you find that out. Like when somebody thinks they're on to something legit, and then you find out it's some guy with like wood shoes, wooden leather.
Yeah, they sell them on Amazon now. The Bigfoot tracks.
Oh man,
That's why. That's why I'm like, somebody says they found tracks in a high area. I'm like, did you, or is it Amazon? Because unless it's the weird, you know how sometimes they're just the Bigfoot tracks are like straight up, and they don't have any bend, any foot like thing, and they got the
yeah,
toes.
and the
If
toes
it's
are
too
perfect.
perfect,
Yeah, like a
I mean,
cookie.
if it's too perfect, I wouldn't be like, it's probably fake. But
Yeah,
like if it's real rough looking, yeah, maybe it'd be more authentic.
well, I was reading Daniel Benoit's book, and he had a picture of bear tracks doubled up,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the pictures it looks just like a gigantic human, like big what a Bigfoot footprint would look
Mm-hmm.
like. And man, I never thought that a bear double stepping like that could look that much like a big
Yeah,
footprint. And
it has a
he
heel and
also,
everything.
you know, it's one thing I really like that was covered in there that I've always agreed with all these like tree bends and stuff. Because man, I can go like in the woods behind my house and find 10 of those like pretty easy,
Mm-hmm.
natural, things, occurrences.
It pretty much just tells you how unexperienced a lot of people are as far as being in the woods is.
Yeah,
Because I was in the forestry team in FFA back in high school, and we even learned about the stuff, what causes them, tree bends and things like that. And I get this Bigfoot groups like, Sasquatch made that. I'm like, no, man, that's a wind.
yeah,
That's causes from another tree growing.
yeah. Yeah, we have
It's
a
not.
lot of wind. We don't have snow. Some people have heavy snows and that does it, but
Mm-hmm.
we do have the tornadoes and the wind. And that can do, tornadoes going through the woods can do a whole lot too.
Yeah, they certainly can. We had a F2 hit my parents' place back in '08, and there's trees still down from that. My dad stocked up his barbecue lumber though with because a bunch of hickories
Uh,
fell down. Man, we had barbecue wood for years. And tornadoes ain't no joke. They'll knock over everything.
yeah, yeah, we're right in the heart of that season right now. It's done went from 70 to 40 degrees here at least two or three times in the last
Mm-hmm.
couple months.
Supposed to freeze this week again.
Yeah, it's supposed to be cold tomorrow morning. And then, probably be 80 by Friday.
Yeah, it could be hot, just straight up hot and
Yeah,
humid, and then it'd be 27 degrees.
yeah,
Be in shorts and then the winter, then a 3-in-1 parka in 12 hours.
yeah, that's right. It's just a swing back and forth here. I guess it's like that there where you're at too.
Oh yeah, not much different.
Not good.
Tuscaloosa County's hotter though.
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't it the hottest place in Alabama?
If you
Seems like
ask
I
me,
read that.
I would say yeah, because it seems pretty dang hot to me when it gets hot.
I've never been to a hotter place.
I've been to a hotter place one time because I was in the UAE for a military deployment. But other than that, I
Yeah.
think this is it here. And I always forget. You know it's hot and you know it's coming, but every year you kind of forget just how bad it is till it finally gets
Mm-hmm.
here. And you're like, dang man, and yeah, I just
Like it does the same thing here, like probably 90%, 95% of the time. But there, I remember every day it raining in the afternoon of the summer, every single day. You'd
yeah,
wake up from your afternoon nap and it'd just be pouring down rain. Like, what in the world? And the streets will flood around campus quick. Like, man, it
yeah.
is hot.
We had what was it, like 5 or 6 years ago? I think there was at one point. It may have been 2019 or 2020. It seemed like it rained almost every week for
Mm-hmm.
for almost the whole year, at least the majority of the months, and we couldn't catch a break from it, which is pretty bad in what I do for work when it rains.
It only snowed once when I was down there for 4 years.
Yeah,
I think it snowed us again.
I wish it would snow. I like seeing snow, but we don't see it very much here.
Mm, not there. It's
And if we do, it's melted by the afternoon that it
yep.
fell the next morning. It doesn't. You don't get it long, or it's not
I know
really
it gets
snow. It's
cold
like
there.
ice.
Mm-hmm. I know it gets cold down there, but not snowy cold.
Yeah. Yeah, we had 2 days. When was that? Maybe
January.
December, January, where it froze for a couple of days, and that was it.
Mm-hmm. We couldn't leave our house for 6 days. It was insane.
This year?
Yeah, January. We were snowed in. I had to get my truck in 4-wheel drive to go get milk.
See, you messed up. Everybody has to get that milk and bread down here.
Yeah.
You dropped
Well,
the ball.
we thought we had enough. I mean, it usually thaws out in a day.
Yeah.
It just kept going. It just kept freezing. And so I had to get in the truck, lock it down, and we were out of milk. And little girl didn't. We got a 3-year-old. That's all she drinks. She was in the water. She was hungry.
Yeah.
Give me just a second. I'm gonna run to the restroom. We'll wrap up soon, but I'm not ready to wrap up just right now.
Oh, okay.
It's been an eventful podcast. Yeah, I went to the restroom while ago, left the dog open, and if the door open, dogs scare me to death. Come in there wagging its tail. What's behind? She's got a big old Labrador Retriever tail. So thump, 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 thump. What in the Sam Hill?
I'm gonna have to check out that book you had there, man. That's like interesting.
It's a children's ghost book, but it's freaking good. It's got all the old classic ghost stories. It's got let's see, it's got the one where the babysitter, the calls coming from inside the house. It's got the hook with the psycho killer escaped the prison and they drove off and they found the hook. It's got all those in there.
Oh, okay.
But there's 3 of them. They're probably at my parents' house, honestly. Man, the moment I buy them, I'll find them.
Yeah, those were some of the best books back then.
I've got a bunch of them over here. I can reach you. People that's on my podcast, they'll send me books. And this is Sin Schrader Hill. She lives about 18 miles away. She's an author, but it's full of personal accounts people send her. And I got a story in there. And this is a guy in Tennessee, Alan Searcy. It's I
saw that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would be relevant to your subject matter, but if you could wedge him in, I would get him.
Okay. What does he cover? I've seen that on Facebook, that book.
He does Tennessee haunts and legends.
Yeah, I guess I never did really answer the question earlier. I was trying to keep everything Alabama related, but I've sort of branched out a little bit now to other states, but it's brought in some heavier hitters, some better.
Yeah.
It got me some
Alabama's very local.
Good guests, Well, I mean, nationwide it would have. I want to just kind of bring it down to our little corner here, but people, the Bigfoot stuff's hard. People will talk about their ghost stories, but for some reason,
all day.
Yeah, when you bring up Bigfoot, people kind of back off of that. They don't want to touch that. I guess that's a good way to get made fun of more or something. And I don't know.
Well, there's the other thing is the people sneaking on your place. That's one of the things I've ran into with people not until they are.
Yeah, if they find out.
You don't want somebody that listens to this podcast that lives in Alabama to find out they could just go an hour and a half down 65, maybe see a Bigfoot.
Right. That makes
There's been a lot of that.
Yeah.
What the hell? I dropped something. There was also the factor of it's kind of anecdotal, but it kind of lends to the fact that maybe they're not just a hidden gorilla. Is the people that live amongst them and deal with them kind of see them as other people. It's like they live with like another tribe of folks.
Yeah.
So it's not something you can exploit. It's like if you, I don't know, lived wrong. If you lived down the street from a family of interesting foreigners that moved into town, you wouldn't want to be like, well, come make fun of these people.
Yeah.
Like they make really good food. They decorate different. That's, I'm not trying to be racist. I'm just saying it's like if you have neighbors that are interesting, like you might talk about how fun they are to be around, but you don't want people come exploiting them.
Right.
I think it speaks more to them being more human than mountain gorilla.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They get attached.
I still believe if they're out there, though, there's some sort of, like human-like, or I don't think magical. I could be way wrong. I don't know, but I know there are people talking about portals and speaking to your mind and coming out of UFOs and balls of light and all that. I just think they're more like us, but maybe
I hear the
faster.
portal thing a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Well,
In the
I'm no expert either. That's just my.
Yeah.
Just
It's hard
my
to believe that stuff. It's hard to believe the portal stuff because you're like, what? You
yeah,
said.
yeah. I'm wrong all the time about a lot of stuff, though. So
The community lost a legend like 2 weeks ago. Bob Grumpy Wilson in the episode I'm airing right now in a window next to you that you can't see, breaking the fourth wall. I'm just kind of checking to see the stats on it, but I dedicated it to him because one of the guys in the interview was one of his students, quote unquote, somebody that researched with him a lot, and he died of a very aggressive kind of cancer from walking into a portal. And look, so many people told me that story that saw it on infrared, or is that a word? IR. They saw it like through the thermal, but not in real life. And he told a story of walking in and how it was like a bare landscape. I'm probably telling this way wrong. And he said, but when he started to walk back out of the portal, like it started like the plant started rendering. He was in the bushes. He wasn't in bushes. Like the world was rendering around him. And
so
he just started getting aggressive.
So the people who were with him through a heat signature on like infrared saw some sort of energy that this guy passed through.
Yeah, it was like a cube they walked into. I'm probably getting it wrong, but yeah, 2 people went in it, and they're both dead now.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's the kind of thing you hear, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah. What was it? It was a show I watched not too long ago, and it said this guy disappeared out in a plain field. They watched him walk, and then he was gone, so they assumed like he fell in a hole or something. And when they went to the location, there wasn't a hole; it was just grass, and they could still hear his voice, but they couldn't see him.
Dude, real serious people say stuff like this a lot. It'll worry you to death.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, somebody that is real serious and to be very trustworthy and honest says something, it's it makes it a lot harder to try to be a skeptic.
And yeah, just when that started happening, started hearing those stories, and I'm like, so what do you people think of the woo woo stuff? I'm like casually asking this guy around the campfire. I'm like, so what does this group think about the woo woo? And he's like, it's like they don't think one way or the other about it, but they know what they saw.
Yeah,
they know what happens. I don't know why my kid's going nuts right now, but whatever. We're an hour in, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, for
that's what gets me.
It's good to be on this recorded show too for reference. So if I keep pursuing this and I figure some things out in the next coming years, I can come back and be like, man, look where you came from. But
yeah,
I almost think though, going forward, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like if I finish these next 2 things, because the paranormal stuff I was doing, it really hit so close to home. It almost kind of freaked me out to where I almost want to leave it alone. I'm like, okay, man, you're making these movies, but you don't want to get into something you don't need to be messing with and go too far, because the original movie was kind of a joke. It stemmed from making goofy reels with my buddy with these 2 redneck characters having sightings of Bigfoot and UFO. That's in my Facebook reels, but we were teamed up on that. And I was doing music first and, watching these documentaries and stuff like Thomas Markham's stuff, some of the zombie media guys' documentaries, and thought I was recording a little music. And I was like, man, I'd like to have like 5 to 10 seconds of music, just make it into a movie so I can say, hey, I made something and it's in a movie. And I never could get anywhere with that. And then me and my buddy started making these goofy Bigfoot reels and having fun with that. And my editing skills got slightly better. And I said, shoot, make my own movie. And I started asking Thomas questions, about how to make it. Told him what I was working on. He said, "Well, do you have a trailer or some material I could look at? I may distribute may distribute it." So all the people in that movie I knew personally, and got them to play characters and do. They had their own little witness scene and all that, where Bigfoot stole their dog or knocked the trees down after Sunday cornbread dinner or whatever, and that was kind of. I mean, it wasn't all comedy. It's listed as a comedy, but it was fictional all the way through. So when I got done with that, and I went through that whole process and learned how to do it, and started talking to people who would talk to me about Bigfoot or whatever, I thought, I kind of want to take a serious run at this and not try to be funny with it, and look into this stuff, see how it goes. And, then I got Historically Haunted booking. He's in Maine, and he's a booking agent for me now. So
Adam?
Yeah, Adam. Yeah.
I forgot he did that. That dude, he's a trip.
Yeah, so I'm on a year with him right now, as a booking agent. But most of his clients are in New England. They're all Northeast, and I think it's pretty safe to say I'm the farthest one away. But he's been really good at promoting that. Thomas has been real good at distributing and promoting Steeds Ridge, and always being there when I have questions. So
yeah, Adam's got a passion for that kind of stuff. He does all that Stephen King research, and it's just like, man, what are you doing? Just do your job. Like, he's got some of the best Stephen King stuff. I don't even like Stephen King that much, more than the next person. But he does stuff. Like, meets the guy that drove the fire truck, and not fire, the 18-wheeler that killed little Davy, and
that's one of his clients. I think that was his first client. He goes to a lot of the locations. He has pictures on there all the time with like a movie location in the background, because he's right there where all that was filmed.
My favorite's that quarry. You seen the one where he's in the quarry from that one movie, and you look behind him, and it's the same place, same pile of rocks.
Yeah, I bet you I've seen it.
Oh yeah.
But I've seen him in the cemetery a few times on there. Yeah, that's him. I'm in his group. So I'm hoping I can produce something here before long, so some of these people can have something to work with from me. Since I'm just kind of like making coffee cups and stuff for now.
Yeah, you got a merch link.
Yeah,
pretty cool merch.
He just.
Do you ever try any gifting out there at your friend's mom's place?
Any what?
Gifting or a gifting area?
No, I don't go to her place. She does her own thing.
Okay.
And I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't do more on her own before it was done. But no, I've never tried that though. And maybe, what did she tell me? She does have some stories. I think she lost her reading glasses in the woods. And she went outside and was singing Amazing Grace, and asked them if they saw her glasses to bring them back, and said she came out like the next day or two and the glasses were on the porch.
Yeah, I hear that kind of stuff a lot. Like, they brought one guy's truck keys back to him. He lost his truck keys in the woods.
If they're there, they don't seem to be just mean or hateful. Or I guess they're maybe they're like people. I don't know. The people are all different. So if there's some sort of humanoid, maybe there are bad ones and good ones, because some people tell stories about getting attacked, basically, or their houses beat on the side of them and all of that. Rocks.
Well, some people ask, like the guy in Minnesota asked for it every once in a while. He said, slap the house tonight, and they will.
And they do.
I don't know if I'd like that or not. I'm like, why don't you bring me like $1 million or something?
Yeah.
Don't scare the shit out of me in my own damn house. I tell everything. I'm like, look, you can do whatever you want to me here, but don't follow me home. I said, I'm Catholic. I will get a priest, so help me God if you follow me home.
Yeah, see, that's where I come from. I'm a Southern Baptist, so some of this stuff to me, I have to take when I look at you know, the Bible versus how this stuff lines up, that's where it comes in, where you're kind of like, so what is this? Or, what's going on here?
I left the South Pittsburgh hospital at 2 a.m. and I was going across the Alabama line, and I knew there was a overpass, and I started talking. I said, "Look, if you're following me home, if you're in here, I said, get out now before we get those." I said, "I'll slow down and let you jump out." I said, "If you follow me home, I'm Catholic. I know priests. I know a bunch of them." I said, "You'll be sent back quick." I said, "Get out now." I said, "Do it now." I slowed down to 40 miles an hour like a drunk, doing like 30 miles an hour on in a 65 zone. I'm like, "Get out." I said, "Okay." And when I hit that overpass, I flipped my cruise back on my truck. I said, "Okay, it's too late now. So if you follow me home, it's over. You're crossing over."
Well, in my movie Steeds Ridge, there's a random part I threw in there where I made this up, just a ghost story, and it's about this ghost, a Civil War ghost, that if you go down this certain road slow enough, he'll come to your house, like follow you home. Man, I didn't know that was a thing until we started going to like the cemetery, or we went in the house.
Oh, you didn't know it was real?
Well, I'd never heard anybody say, "Hey, be careful, these things will follow you home," till we started dealing with this stuff. And I was kind of, getting advice from people like, "Hey, what do you think we should do?" Or, "Have you ever done this?" And they'd be like, "All I can tell you is when you go to leave, tell stuff not to follow you home, because you don't want to bring."
Don't follow me home.
I've never heard that before. Like I said, like I'm a total amateur with this stuff, but I'm so interested in it. I wanted to, if I was going to make a movie, I like documentaries, and this is the kind of stuff that interests me the most. So that's where I'm going with it. And I'm learning, what don't do you, hey, watch out, and one of the guys who went with us, one guy, he was like, "Hey, my wife told me make sure we tell stuff not to follow us home." The other guy says, I'm going to leave this in the video too. I don't think I'm going to edit it out, but he says, "Yeah, you don't want to follow me home. My wife lives there, and she hollers all the time," or something like that. She you don't want to come to my house.
Got an EVP and told her to shut up.
Yeah. Well, no, I did.
Yeah, you gotta tell him. You gotta tell him that hitchhiker effect's real.
Yeah, that was all new to me. It was. We were just taking random shots. Like, hey, let's go to. It'd be real cool for a documentary. Let's go in a cemetery at night with equipment and see what happens randomly. And then when stuff actually happens, you gotta go home and sit there for a minute. Like, man, I stayed up late after that first cemetery investigation. I had my head, I put my earbuds in. I'm listening to the audio, and when I actually heard something, that was a long night. I'm not gonna lie. I sat there, and I was, because of the nature of the message, it was a little bit aggressive. Not a little bit, a whole lot of bit aggressive. I sat there awake, like, what the heck was that? Like,
you got an EVP?
Yeah, I got
what
an
did it say?
Huh?
What did it say? Could you hear it?
Yeah. This one in the cemetery, and I got one in the old house. The one in the old house is very clear. The one in the cemetery seems to sound like it says, "I cut the head off tonight."
Ooh. Oh yeah, you were telling me about that.
Yeah, and then I got one in the house after David, who was with me, opened the door. It says, "Shut the door." So that's why,
yeah,
man, I really should probably finish the Paranormal movie first, because I've got way better material and more witnesses.
Oh, you always will.
It's going to be put together a little easier than the Bigfoot one, but I'm just being stubborn, trying to make Bigfoot and Big Cats Volume 1. And then I got one UFO encounter and some paranormal stuff to add. And I bought new equipment, audio and visual stuff now. So that's, besides waiting on people, those are setbacks. I get better stuff, so I want to redo it or get better shots. And I scrapped some of the old stuff that wasn't as good.
Yeah, you should really find a way to split the cat one up, even after you release it. Like release it as like a sub one, like re-edit it, make it like its own little show.
Well, yeah, I thought about depending on if these two do well, I could go back and revisit that because I believe I could find plenty of witnesses around here. So
I
I've
just
heard it
bet
my whole
people.
life.
I just bet the audience just. I mean, release it like you're going to, but I bet like because you know the one I have that's the best Bigfoot story ever told, and it's just like a cut from a larger one. Like those kind of things sometimes get all kinds of attention. Like even it's just like 15 minutes instead of like an hour and a half, just about the Alabama big cats and the encounters.
Yeah.
That's so niche. That's so nichey that I bet that might take off too.
Yeah, it's a little different. That
Yeah.
did cross my mind. That's why I wanted to add it. And I've got a big cat expert
Mm-hmm.
audio from her. Yeah, I mean that's her expertise, and she contributed some information. You know, she's up in Maine, so then there
Mm-hmm.
again, not Alabama. You know, so it kind of,
You
Daniel,
send.
Virginia, Pennsylvania, or I wish I could get somebody that was maybe like a Alabama, the white thing, like a witness. That would be good, but
I
I'm
got
just
one
kind
of those.
of, do you?
Yeah, he's one of my co-hosts. He saw it one night taking a leak.
Okay, well,
It came. I didn't know you wanted one. I could hook you
oh,
up like right now. He may be
oh,
listening. Sport cat, are you listening? Well, this isn't live. I'm talking to no one. Fuck. Well, I got my chat going over here watching it. I'm multitasking. But yeah, he saw it one night and it blew in like a mist, a fog, and it had the red eye shine, and it materialized into a thing, and then it faded back away and floated off.
oh man, if he'd be willing to get in touch with me, that'd be great. That's
I bet it would.
Man, that would be like one. That would be such a large missing piece. Between that and I got like one more guy I got to get with. That might do it. Man, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I can even
I did my
send you an
research.
episode where he talked about it.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
can
All
find
right.
you. I got you a white thing, guy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, when you try to look up cryptids in Alabama, that pops up a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anybody who had ever claimed to see that, and
Yeah,
I'd kind
I just
of made
happened to
like,
stumble upon it.
yeah, I made a little section for my movie about it, but I didn't have a witness to go with it. It was mentioned or will be mentioned when I put it all together.
Have you ever heard
I
of the
mean, I kind
Flintville
of
monster?
the Flint Gill,
Flintville.
Flintville. No, I don't think so.
It's
Is
in.
that it?
It's in. It's 15 miles due north of where I'm at right now. Flintville is a little map dot, also just like Reform and Coker, what have you. And there's a white one up there that a lot of people have seen. And I got a guy that's like the expert on the whole thing coming on Tuesday, actually, in 2
Okay.
days.
So is that the white thing? Is that more like a northern Alabama thing? I
I think,
guess.
considering who it came from, it probably came from around Talladega.
Yeah, seems like on the
I,
map I saw it was Walker County, Talladega area, your area. It was kind of like a little square there on the map where most of the sightings happened. It was maybe northwest. Now that I think about it,
I
central,
think
right, right
I,
above us.
his probably would have been in the Calhoun County area, Anniston,
Okay, well
down
that's a little
toward
east.
between 280 and 20.
Okay,
But I just know where he often haunts, checks out, researches. So I can't be 100%, but he would kind of when you hang out with those guys, you got to sign an NDA. So I don't really know what all how specific I can get.
okay,
That's how
yeah,
serious they get.
yeah. That's kind of how the woman that I was talking about. It's kind of like that with her. I can't try and be careful not to say too much about where she's at.
Yeah, you don't want to.
Yeah, because
People are crazy and will show up.
yeah, that's her one
They
stipulation.
just will.
Don't show her house and don't tell nobody where she's at.
Like I didn't really know how serious some of that stuff was when I started doing this. And then I started talking to real people. I'm like, you know what? I don't like how I know exactly where the first person I interviewed lives, and everybody else does now too.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's far enough out of the way that you really got to get a plane ticket to get there. But still, like I know exactly where the dude lives. I could find it right now if it wasn't 19 hours away.
Yeah. I totally get it though. Paranormal, Bigfoot aside, man, I'm private. I don't want people like, I don't check in, I don't tag my location or nothing like
Mm-hmm.
that. So I couldn't, I mean, just with nothing going on, but I couldn't imagine like with Bigfoot or something walking around. Sure enough, wouldn't let nobody know.
We got in Granger County, Tennessee. I got a witness that habituates with them, and like I know about where she lives, just never been there. I'm like, man, if it wasn't such a hard place to get to, I bet it'd be kind of high traffic. I kind of want to go up there and get an actual sighting. She says it's unusually active all the time, but it's up north of Knoxville. Everything's in Tennessee that I do. Tennessee or Minnesota. It's the only states I talk to. No in between.
How did you end up with the Minnesota stuff going on? Just you reached out, your show made it that way or something?
Randy's got his own Facebook group, so I just reached out to him that way, and it just seemed to blossom. A lot going on. It's pretty much just like the Great White North.
Yeah, man. To me, Minnesota seems like that'd be a really good place to go. Mm-hmm. Just in general. I mean, we're talking about how it was so hot here in the summer. I've always wished, like, man, I wish I could go out west or north somewhere and live instead of. I don't like being hot.
I don't like it either. I don't know what I would do if I saw 10 feet of snow, though.
Yeah. You think you want that until you have to live through all that snow, and then I'd probably be on the side of the road like crying, like I don't know what to do.
I wouldn't know. Like if I woke up and there was 3 feet of snow, what would you do? I mean, where do you go?
Well, we're used to if we see any, we know it's going to be gone in 2 days. So it's like do your worst, and then you get up there and it stays for months. You're like in it.
I'd be watching Fargo and like, how in the world do they survive?
Yeah,
they're just driving around in a Honda Civic on ice. Like we would all be dead.
Yeah, and it seemed like I made a few trips like northwest, and it looked like most of them have trucks. Seemed like most people were driving pretty heavy trucks. Where down here we have, like Honda Civics and.
In Montana, everybody's got a Subaru or a Dodge Ram.
Yeah. That's around. We went to Wyoming and touched Idaho and went right in the corner of Montana just to get into Yellowstone because it was early in the season and the other entrances were closed. And yeah, it was like Dodges and that kind of thing. I mean, they even put us in a big rental,
They put me in a Jeep up there, which is horrible. That thing broke down on me. I drove it for 2 days. It broke down. All right. Well, I think we may wrap up now.
Okay.
Because I'm starting to get kind of tired, and this is fun, and I don't want to ruin it. I mean, I bet we went to the same places in Idaho and Montana, though.
Yeah, probably. Man, Idaho was nice though. You never hear much about Idaho, but
oh yeah, it's perfect. Nothing's there.
It was like the dream location, to me. Being up there.
Imagine how far off the grid you could get for cheap up there.
Yeah, the only thing I learned, well, not the only thing, but one thing I learned about it was if I lived there, I would be armed at all times and our short little period of being there, I saw bears and wolves. I mean, and that was just in passing going down the road. So it's like, man, if I'm seeing them this frequently for like a few days here, man, like if you were out there, like you're for sure going to run into this stuff on foot.
Imagine that's what frustrates me the most about the gun grab bunch is they want to take away certain firearms. You're like, well, you're just going to knock the knees out from under half the country that actually need these things.
Yeah, because they have grizzly bears.
If I'm in Montana, I want an AR-10 at littlest on me at all times with 75 rounds ready to go.
Mountain lions, grizzly bears, wolves. I mean, they've got it.
I
The
like
dang
the
buffalo.
buffaloes, man.
Yeah,
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 it's
yeah,
just like a Toyota Sequoia walking up next to you.
yeah.
It's
You're
like, what in the
probably not.
world? Imagine being a little limey, limp-wristed European coming over here and just seeing a buffalo
Yeah.
for the first time. No wonder they wiped them out. So first of all, they're delicious.
Yeah, what's the biggest animal they have over there? I wonder.
Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, they
See what I
got
did
those.
there?
Yeah, I did.
I
Yeah, I guess we're
don't know.
Scotland
Europe don't
got
have many big
they got
places.
Scotland has those Highland cows. I guess it's got the long hair.
Yeah, they got
They're that's
stags.
that's just a cow. Yeah,
They got. I guess that you had to get down into Europe to get to the big stuff. I mean, Africa
yeah,
and
yeah,
Asia. They
yeah.
got the banthas and the tauntauns
You get
hanging
ate
out,
up.
hanging out on
You
a
get
what's the
you
word?
get eaten
Rachis.
by animals and the people.
The sandworms.
Or Australia, where everything is deadly.
Mhm. I couldn't imagine living in Australia with black mambas, deadliest
No,
snake on earth. I ain't doing that.
yeah, for all everything's poisonous. Or yeah,
It will kill you. All right, man. I guess we can land the plane. This has been fun. I don't think this is the last we see of each other.
I hope not.
Oh
I hope
no. As
uh,
close as you are, I can see us meeting up for something or other, doing something.
yeah, we should. Well, actually, me and my wife in late April, our anniversary is coming up, and I told her I wanted to go somewhere in North Alabama just to not do anything for a couple of days. Like, I don't want to drive a long way this time, and I don't want to get out and do a bunch of sightseeing. I just want to go, like, take it easy for a few days. But yeah, I mean, the offer's still there too for you to contribute some stuff to the projects I'm working on. If
Hmm.
I mean, if you're okay with being a part of it,
Oh, I
it's
don't care. I'll do anything.
yeah, yeah, we can do something with that.
There's a big Bigfoot meet and greet in Kentucky, land between the lakes, and 1st of April.
I think there's one in June in Anniston.
Yeah, there is, and the big Alabama Bigfoot conference.
Yeah, have you ever been
I
to
may
any?
go. I went to a couple Paracons, and I was a vendor at one and a customer at the other, and I guess it's hit or miss.
Is it okay? I've never been to
Yeah,
one.
they're fun. You meet some interesting people. I was. It really kind of made it all real to me because started meeting all my guests, and they weren't just on the screen anymore. I was giving them hugs and shaking their hand, and I was just like, man, I want to do this like now forever. I hate my job. Like I'm quitting my job and doing this. But yeah, I met several guests. I met guests in people who are my fans, quote unquote, listeners at these things too, which is fun. It's worth doing. There's so many of them. Every town has like a little one. You don't know if it's going to be 10,000 people there or 50.
Yeah, yeah, I know those guys up there between like the Northeast, like Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Kentucky. Apparently, they've
Mm,
got a hot triangle there, man. They have stuff going on all the time. There, it's just a little far for me right now. Maybe one day I can start traveling a little more again when get a little more time in at work. But
yeah.
this this is
I
all
don't know
new.
what the benefit.
It's
Yeah,
all.
I just don't know what the benefit would be.
I know another podcaster. He gets a lot of his guests at those things, but he's in a hot spot where they have them pretty often. And
Hmm.
what he tells me, he meets a lot of his guests there. Kind of like what you just said.
I'm going to meet. I'm definitely going more than likely to the Land Between the Lakes thing, unless there's like a tornado coming that weekend, which is April 7th. So flip a coin.
Yeah, that's
And
soon in Kentucky.
yeah, Land Between the Lakes. It's the Woodwalkers meet and greet. I'm just going to go up there for a day, come back down. Then there's one in Nashville, Indiana, not Nashville, Tennessee. And I may go to it because it's just 2 states away, pretty much through Tennessee and Kentucky, and across the Ohio River, and you're there.
Okay.
But the benefit to me is I thought, and I went to the one in Nashville last year. It was on the same day as a Tennessee game, and I don't I I don't really know what I thought was going to happen or what I thought the outcome was going to be, but I loved meeting my guests. I love meeting the people, but I didn't really get any growth about it. Nothing really happened, and more than like doing it was almost like somebody big shared my show is almost the same benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Other than meeting some people I can probably network with later on, and that may
Yeah.
be a long term benefit. It may be a long term benefit.
Yeah. I've
But I
come
thought I
a
was going to
long.
like 10,000 subs.
It's been. I mean, I don't have a big network by any means, but
Mm-hmm.
I started thinking about like Adam Biggin and some of these other people I know now that I talked to. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know them at this time last year. Like I just met these people in like the last 6 or 7 months, and now some of
Yep.
them are like people I talk to every week. That yesterday I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know them, and all I did was release this ridiculous bad quality Bigfoot movie and started making connections. And so I want to go to some of these too, but I want to have more work, to take with me before I do. I want to have at
I would
least three
just
movies and maybe something else to go with it, and then I'd feel comfortable.
There'll be one in Birmingham soon, I'm sure. There's a couple con paranormal con Facebook groups you can follow. I would
Yeah,
just find one close within a couple hours and just get a camping table, and you got your mugs. I mean, you're already halfway there. You got more than I had. I just
yeah,
had a bunch of I just gave out candy and QR codes.
yeah. I've got mugs, shirts, and stickers. I've got a bunch of stickers, and I usually just and buttons now. I really just give them away. Just uh, it's not like a marketable thing yet. I've sold a few
Yeah,
shirts because they're expensive, and it's not something you can just go get.
yeah. I mean,
But it was really more for trying to network and get your name out, making these stickers and stuff and giving them out. But I don't know. I think it's just something you have to be consistent with and chip away, and along with legitimately investigating something you're interested in.
it doesn't hurt that it's extremely interesting.
Oh yeah, yeah, very,
That's the best part. I get lost in it. Like tonight, like we're here just like talking about this stuff, and I can go for hours. And I get to work, and somebody mentions it. I'm like, dude, quit being weird.
yeah. Well, I
They'll
I've done broke through that wall now where you're kind of like, I guess most of the witnesses are, they don't want to come out with it. Now I'm out there because everybody sees my posters in the wall at work
Mhm.
and stickers. So I'm like the Bigfoot guy now
Yep.
in their eyes, and they make jokes and everybody laughs. But I mean, I already knew I was a weird guy, so I don't care. The older I've gotten, the more I've just embraced it. And so, you know what? I enjoy this. If I enjoy it, it's my life. That's where I'm going with it. And they
Oh
can
yeah.
like it if they want to, because pretty sure they like some sort of weird or pansy stuff too that they
Oh
don't talk
yeah.
about.
They're probably
Yeah,
like NFL football, like a bunch of girls.
yeah, yeah. Or like you said, it was like the Brokeback Hunt Club that they.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you were laughing at me for liking stories about a big gorilla man, and well, look at here.
Yeah. Now we know what you were hiding from. And
Yeah,
one of my coworkers, she grew up ghost hunting with her mom and had some crazy experiences. And so they'll come in and start joking with me about something, and they'll say, and then somebody will bring her up, and she'll start telling her stories, and you're just like, what? And then it turns into like, well, we know when I was little, and that's how it always goes down. We've had more than 10 or 12 people just tell a
man.
story just out of the in their
Some
office.
people ghost stories are like terrifying though.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And
when
they're
you get,
real.
yeah, but I mean they're not only are they real, it's not like they saw a ball roll down the hall. Like they see something like awful,
Mm-hmm.
and
Although
man,
at the foot of their bed.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They see a person standing there looking at them when they're asleep. That kind of thing. That man, those would keep you up. I mean, hearing that EVP kept me up that night. because it's like, kind of like looking around the room, like, yeah, man, I'm skeptic or not. I heard what I heard on the recording, and I was the one who recorded it in my own hand.
Mm-hmm.
I had the digital recorder, so I know I didn't screw with it. It wasn't anybody
That's what
playing
gets you.
a joke on me,
When it's real, it's real. It's real when it's real.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a word. When it's real, it's really real.
When it happens to you, it is.
Oh, we had an EVP on this podcast one time. Somebody was talking about a ghost they discovered, and they heard a scream, and it wasn't my kids either.
Oh, there was a scream in the audio?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And she said it happens every time we bring the subject up. And she showed me another show that wasn't mine at all, and the same scream was in it.
So something followed her
Mm-hmm.
then at that point.
Yeah, it's a Waverly Hills kind of thing. It's a well known one. She goes, every time we bring this up, we hear that same scream. Like, well, great. Now my house is haunted.
Congratulations.
All right, man. I think I am going to wrap it up now. So,
right.
what is your website? And if you don't have one, it's fine.
Yeah, I mostly just go through Facebook. I have
Moonlight Monster Media.
Yep. Or Dustin Grammer, whichever. I'm on pretty much everything except for X, I guess.
You're not doing anything there.
I probably need to go there. I just don't understand how it works. I never tried it too much.
I'll get a link to your stuff before this airs in like probably 2 to 3 weeks. I'll get a link to it and put it in the description so people can find you.
Yeah, so you said this will probably air in like 2 to 3 weeks.
I think so. I have a bunch of old episodes and new. I'm doing like an old and new just to clear out my bank because I gathered up a lot. And now it looks like the old ones, like I'm not as good at this. I know I'm not Jimmy Fallon right now, but it looks like I'm fumbling around, and now I'm a few months more advanced, and so I got to pepper them in.
Yeah, that's
probably 2 weeks.
All right, I just I just want to know. I'll start advertising on my own pages and stuff, but I didn't want to I figured this out. You don't want to blow the gun, and then it be like months away, and you lose steam if you keep putting the same stuff all the time. I did that with my movie because
do it too much.
Yeah, I started making ads about it was coming to Amazon soon, and to this day, it's still not on there.
Now no one's gonna go watch it.
Yeah, it's on TUBI, but I think Thomas said it was on Amazon other countries. So I made all this big to do about it for months, and then I got real quiet, laid low for a while. So I was like, I like to keep things before I advertise for something. I like to keep it within a week or two, and
I'll just make it in 2 weeks. Then I can make it happen.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't pushing you or nothing, but I like to strategize advertising, I didn't want to be like, I'm on a podcast on the Caffeinated Cryptid, and then because I know a lot of podcasts, sometimes it could be months before your episode shows up.
Yeah. Next weekend, I have an old episode with some guys from Florida, and it was it was a really long one, and I've been holding on to it. I think I gotta air it so I can still keep them as friends, because it looks like I'm just keeping it squashed at this point.
Yeah,
it's been a long ass time.
That's how I am with this movie. It's like, man, I've got stuff from people, and they'll ask me, they're like, well, when are you? I give that to you 6 months ago. What's going on? I'm like, waiting on these other people. Or like you said, you got better at it. Well, I got better equipment. I got a drone now, and I get all this cool aerial footage.
Yeah.
And took a kayak out in the water with a GoPro and all that. So I got all this stuff now, and I've either got to scratch some of the old B-reels or find a way to use it all. It's just evolved along the way the last few months. I thought I'd be done with this movie by November or December, and it just kept growing into something else.
That's not something you put a timeline on anyway. Movies are hard to make.
No, I was I had a goal because I wanted to go to that thing in Anniston in June. So I was by the time I was going to be ready, but now I don't feel, I'd rather just try to make a better movie than be in a hurry.
Yeah, you're not really hurting yourself by missing a Paracon.
Yeah, that's right.
They're all come back around.
Yeah, I'm like you.
I'll keep you abreast of some that come up anyway. I got a couple in the hopper.
Yeah, that'd be good, and we'll work together. Send me some stuff. I'll put it in there. And I'm like you, though, man. I think I slept like 3 hours last night, and I had to take my daughter to the emergency room Friday, and she's good. She's okay. She just hurt her chest on a trampoline, and then we thought her rib.
Trampolines.
Well, we were just making sure she didn't break her rib, and then last night,
yeah, those things are bad.
We went to bed late from sleeping all day from being up all night, and then the cat decided to act out and get in the ducts, and it knocked some of the duct work down. So a little wore out today. This turned out good though on my end as far as I feel comfortable about it. Kind of worried about it. I was like, man, I'm so tired. I hope this podcast goes good today.
That's why I make extremely strong coffee.
Yeah, well, I had 2 cups earlier, and then I bought an energy drink like maybe 2 hours before I come on here.
you get too caffeinated up. You end up not being able to talk. I've been so excited before. I just sound like I'm on coke.
Yeah. Plus,
I just sent you that contact for the white thing as well.
Okay. Yeah, and I know I've listened to your show some, so I knew yours ran a little longer most of the time. And longer than what I'm longer than what I'm used to going on, where I talk for like 20 or 30 minutes.
Oh no, what? That's no fun.
Yeah. I'm like, man, I've never gone on a show that could go an hour or so.
That's the warm up portion is 20 minutes.
Yeah.
They don't even get good till 30.
Oh crap! All right, man. Well, thank you.
Yeah, I'm about to hit my theme music, and I'm going to tell the white thing guy that I sent that to you, and he should be getting in touch with you.
All right, man. Awesome.
Or you can get in touch with him. It doesn't matter. Either one.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Peace out, man. We'll be seeing you.
All right.
I never didn't believe in Bigfoot. I never believed in it. I didn't believe in it. I never gave it any thought.
They kept wood knocking back and forth to each other, and it was in a pattern.
Barn owls don't typically throw rocks.
I come across these tracks.
Sasquatch is still not on my mind.